Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Nathan and I do a podcast. Welcome to Nathan Does a Podcast. Today we're going to have a break away from the nerdy to talk about the macabre and creepy with the creepiest guy I know, Nick Brouk.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Today we're going to do something fun and special. We've decided to take our most interesting and fascinating and horrible serial killers that we think deserve to be on a Mount Rushmore, a Mount Killmore, if you will. And Nick, are you ready?
I think I am. I think I'm ready to talk about this on a recorded medium that people will always be able to know me for.
We can't erase it, and I refuse to edit.
There we go.
So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it raw. We're going to talk about some gruesome things, but we just want everybody to know that we're not glorifying these people in any way. They're horrible and sick, and fuck them. They deserve to be made fun of. And the victims and the survivors of these horrendous people deserve at least a moment of silence. So, Nick, I'll let you do the honors of beginning. Who is your George Washington on this Mount Killmore?
All right, so I wanted to go with one of the big names just to start us off, but I didn't want to get too, I don't want to do Bundy, I don't want to do Gacy. I mean, everybody knows that story. But one of the ones that I personally think deserve to be on that list, Andre Chikatilo, the Butcher of Rostov. This man was an absolute fucking monster. He is the quintessential example of what everybody thinks of when they think serial killer without having done any. I mean, he is a movie monster. He is Jason. He is Freddy. He is everything that you know that is horror. He's a sexual psychopath, an absolute sadist, fucking predator, a just the worst conception of a human being. So, of course, we're going to Russia.
So he wasn't the guy who was involved in the Soviets, he wasn't a political guy, or was that I'm thinking of a totally different guy?
No, he had no political affiliation other than, well, he was part of the Communist Party, but I'm not entirely sure whether or not he had to be.
Yeah, I think everybody in Soviet at that time kind of had to be.
Right, or else,
Yeah,
that's how that went. He grew up during Stalin's enforced famine, his forced agricultural collective program, in which farmers and everybody living in rural areas had to give all of their product and their crop into basically over to the government. And so people all around him starving, dying in the streets. He grew up basically just surrounded by...
in hell.
Yeah. Exactly. Just rape and macabre and murder. And everybody fighting over everything. He had an incredibly abusive mother.
Recipe for hate right there.
Exactly. This transferred over during into World War II. And so he, during his teens, existed in a German occupation in Ukraine.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all bad.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
not.
It's a bad place to be a Russian.
Yes.
German-occupied Ukraine.
Bad place to be a Russian peasant.
Yeah.
But it just violence all around. He was incredibly intelligent, but incredibly socially awkward, as you would expect. And he always had problems... as it comes down to the sexual sadist, he always had problems expressing his sexuality in any kind of conceptually healthy way. He found his first instance of experimentation came when he was 15 and attempted to rape an 11-year-old.
Oh my God.
Yes, watching her struggle made him come, and she was able to get away before he was able to do any real damage. But that was the first thing that taught him, this is how I operate. And
it was that first taste of just horrible fucking sadism.
Exactly. But we're also talking about the 1940s, where the 1940s in Russia.
Yeah.
So where is any kind of psychological help available whatsoever to?
Well, no, there's no such thing as that.
Ukrainian peasant. Yeah. So he just festers in it.
Oh, jeez, fuck.
Yeah. He ends up, but as I said, he was incredibly intelligent, so he ends up attempting to go to university to become an engineer, ends up becoming a teacher because, you know, those who can't do teach. And
Fuck you.
but he's eventually ousted from the university he taught at for sexual misconduct.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're in a school, you got power over people, you already got that sick dog in you.
Indeed. Ousted for sexual misconduct in Russia.
Yeah,
in
that's
the 1960s.
you got to be pretty fucking bad. You got to be doing some really bad stuff because, like, I think they were all kind of doing really bad stuff. So
Yeah.
you got a bunch of sickos saying, "Hey, this guy's got to go."
Exactly. Just a fucking mess. You know, peeping at students, fucking cornering people, just all the worst of what you would think.
All right, we haven't even gotten into the murders, and I already hate this guy. Like,
yeah, no, he's a sick fuck. So it's not until 1978 that he actually commits his first murder, that of 9-year-old, and I'm gonna fuck this name up, Yelena Zakhanova.
rest in peace.
Indeed. He already at this point has a murder rape shack
Oh my god,
purchased.
that was what of a turn. Just after the first one, you're like, I'm gonna go out and buy the whole thing.
Right. So he lures her into the shack, does as he does, and then blames it on his neighbor, Alexander Kranachik.
Russian name that starts with a K. Look it up, guys.
That's unfair to the Russians at this point. They're going through a hard time.
I think they'll be all right. They'll bounce back.
Yeah.
They're resilient people.
Indeed. But he blames it on his neighbor because his neighbor also had rape and murder charges previously.
So, I mean, if there's one guy to blame it on.
Exactly. So the police look into this, see this, arrest, and then promptly execute the neighbor. And Andre learns that he can pretty much get away with whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, that'll make you feel immortal right after that.
Right. He continues for a little bit in this village, luring young women and children into the various secluded areas.
God, you
where
started with your big guy. Jesus.
I told you, man. Fucking George Washington.
No, I guess, yeah.
I get, yeah, but just quintessential. Like this man is the boogeyman. This was his practice. Offer alcohol to children and women of various ages, ranging from fucking 9 to mid 40s, prostitutes, fucking anybody that would take it.
So he was a guy that traveled for women. He wanted to kill women mostly.
Precisely. Some speculate it was something to do with his mother, but that's far past the research that I've done for this. So don't. Honest to God, my notes equate that of a 7th grader's book report.
Well, mine are that of a high schooler that doesn't give a shit anymore. Just write down the cliff notes, like, we'll fucking run with it.
So for the love of God, nobody quote us on anything.
We're two dumb fucks, all right?
Indeed. And this is where his sexual sadism, this is why I say he is the definition of a ripper, because it wasn't strangle, it wasn't stab, it was stab 45 times and then bite something off.
So did he have like OCD? Was it always 45 times? Like, what's going on with that?
It wasn't OCD. The man just would go ballistic. I mean, most of his victims were unrecognizable by the time that he was finished.
He had a lot of passion in the murders.
Yeah. I don't want to call him a Tasmanian devil, but the things that he would do to these people is
animalistic.
Exactly.
In nature, yeah.
Incredibly predatory, because it was the only thing that ever, I guess, got him off.
God. I'm glad. I thought my shit was weird, but fuck. Like, beats that.
People scared of your Pornhub search history.
Yeah, imagine this guy's Pornhub fucking. Imagine if he had a Pornhub. He probably wouldn't have done all this shit.
Indeed. Well, or maybe.
Fuck.
Fuck if it was videotaped.
Oh my God.
So once he moves to Rostov, women and children just start going missing all over. And Rostov, being an actually populated and controlled city, they sent out this manhunt and end up, oddly enough, discovering or solving 1,000 different unknown cases, none of which are connected to him. They find like 900 missing bodies, and then
Like a mass grave or something, or are they just all spread out throughout?
kind of like that thing that happened in Detroit where the lake dried up.
Oh, so where he dumped it, where he was dumping everything.
Oh no, a little bit. They're finding at this point they're closing cold cases that have nothing to do with them.
Oh,
because of how widespread the manhunt is.
Yeah.
So they're stumbling as they're looking for him. They're stumbling across other.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
they're finding other people's like murder victims because they're trying to find this guy. I got you.
Yeah, because that's how violent of a time period it was for that area of the world.
Yeah,
apparently. So he's out of view, but he is still just racking up numbers of these mutilations, and eventually they catch him on trying to lure a 10-year-old into the woods.
Oh, God.
And they bring him in and they test his they have semen samples from the bodies. Yeah.
Jesus.
And they know the killer's blood type. What they don't know is that Andre Chikatilo has a particular genetic, a very rare genetic, kind of malfeasance in that he can only have his blood type can only be drawn straight from his blood. Where a general regular person, you can get it from your saliva, you can get it from
skin and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just most matter on your body you can read somebody's blood type from. With him, if it's anything other than his blood, it's going to give them a false accuracy. And this is how he is able to avoid the police.
Again. Yeah, because he pinned his neighbor at the first time, and now he's got some skin disease. Dude is just playing out his luck stat. He's got his luck stat maxed out. Oh, well,
right.
I have a rare blood disease, and you can't actually tell it's me, huh? He's that asshole in video games. No, actually.
Exactly. So they are forced to let him go. He then continues on to repeat the same behavior around Rostov for I think 23 different victims. But he's being kept on. The cops are keeping it cops. Whatever Soviet version of police is.
The Gestapo? The secret police? It's just Gestapo? I don't know.
But they're keeping an eye on him, and they're pretty sure he's the fucking guy. But they can't do shit about it. So
if they really wanted to, it's Russia, dude. If they really wanted to kill the guy,
they could find a reason. But they have other bigger fish to fry at the moment. So he is finally caught in 1990 after they caught him red-handed trying to lure another fucking 9-year-old with beer. He was eventually charged with the murders of 53 women and children.
Jeez.
He admitted to the murders of 64 and was originally accused of the murders of 80.
Oh, so anywhere between 50 and 80 seems like the accurate number.
Exactly.
I mean, this guy seems a little meticulous, a little OCD and stuff, like I said earlier. So I believe his number. I believe 64 is probably your accurate.
Yeah, I mean, for his safety during his trial, which was more of a carnival than it was anything else, they kept him in a cage. A cage in which he would spit at the judge and the jury. He would talk consistently about how his penis didn't work. He would whip his dick out in front of everybody. He would perform some of the most psychotic behavior seen at that point in time. I mean,
you spent 10 minutes making me hate him, and now this guy sounded pretty cool when you're you show your true form when you're put to the test, and this guy's just he's an animal.
Well, it's a lot of fun when it's Andy Rooney, but Andy Rooney, as we know, has never killed 54 people.
As we know.
Yeah. So that's got my George Washington spot just because I see him as the prototype. He hit all the marks, and like I said, just Tasmanian deviled his way through what sounds like at least 53, if not more, people. Again.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. A horrible guy. I mean, if that's your spot, that's your spot. I mean, you said boogeyman at one point, and that got me to change my list a little bit and made me want to get to my boogie woman like next. Yeah. So have you ever heard of Enriqueta Martí,
I have not.
the vampire of Barcelona?
The Vampire of Barcelona?
Yeah. So we're going to Spain for this one. We're going
Sounds
all
like
around. So this lady was similarly just batshit crazy and had similar desires for children and other things. So I'm just gonna read this straight up because like I don't think it's like me like narrating it or something will do it justice, but like just straight up like the shit she did. So in 1909, Marty opened her own brothel, which attracted some of the most affluent in Barcelona. Some of them had unusual desires, which she accommodated for a premium. Some expressed a desire for children. To accommodate them, she dressed as a pauper during the day and frequented the poor parts of the city, where she came across unoccupied children, and she abducted them to prostitute them in her brothel. She did like the same thing in like bread lines for like the church and like monasteries and stuff like that. So she would just like find like the poorest, most downtrodden children and like take them back to her brothel. And at the same time she was doing all of this, she was also practicing as a witch doctor. So she claimed drinking the blood of children could cure tuberculosis and offered creams and elixirs that could stop aging and prolong life. The ingredients she used, can you guess what it is? The blood of children.
Who was there was a New Orleans woman that did that, Madame La.
Oh yeah, Madame Lalaurie. I would have put her, but like her numbers are so like skewed. Like her numbers are skewed too. But this Barcelona chick is just like so much worse because she was like prostituting too, and then like it still gets worse. It even gets worse. But yeah,
It gets worse.
I definitely consider Lalaurie as well because they are similar, like with the thing. And there was even another girl who was like a Hungarian like heiress or something, and I didn't want to count her because I felt like that was unfair for everybody else because, again, with Lalaurie, she was murdering slaves. Like,
Yeah.
I get that it's a serial killer, but it's also like
But there's
not the
that
same
added
hurdles.
layer of fucking well,
Like,
if you
yeah,
it's
but-
however you want to consider it. I
But
mean,
just like a Jeffrey Dahmer or the guy you said, like they had like to hide their stuff, and they only got lucky was how they got ahead. Where these people who are in positions of power, I feel like, are more or less just abusing their power.
yeah, there's another
Like,
old,
this chick is just
medieval guy,
taking a-
Gilles de Rais, who did that.
Yeah.
Where he was a duke and a fucking lord, and he could literally just have people brought over to the house.
Exactly.
Fucking-
I think that we said no Nazis at the beginning for that same reason. Like, it's just like it's almost too easy for them to like become a serial killer. It's like playing on easy mode.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the Einsatzgruppen or like
Yeah.
fucking that's an entirely different world of
But this chick was just literally taking advantage of poor people and like the common folk, you know? Like it was just somebody who saw opportunity and took it and was horrendously good at it. So what was it? At the same, we did that. The ingredients she used to make her remedies came from the remains of children that she was killing, who ranged from 5 to 15 years old. She used the fat, blood, and hair and bones. For this reason, she did not have problems disposing of her victims. Marty offered salves, ointments, filters, and potions, especially to treat tuberculosis, which was feared at the time, like, you know, because another incurable disease. During the tragic week of 1909, she was arrested at her flat in Barcelona, along with a young man from a wealthy family, and accused of running a brothel that offered services for children. Thanks to her contacts with Barcelona high society, she didn't have a trial. She got off with all the things that she was doing.
reminds me of something. I can't quite put. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't quite know what that reminds me of currently. It's something I might have seen in the news for the last. I don't know.
Oh well. So after she got, off on all these things, over the next 3 years, many more children disappeared. But as they were from poor families, the police investigations were minimal. It is suspected that she kidnapped a large number of children over a span of 20 years. She was finally arrested in a flat in El Raval. More evidence was found in flats in Barcelona where she had lived previously. Forensics experts managed to differentiate a total of 12 children with what little evidence they were able to recover. In spite of suspicions, and because Marty did not tally her activities, experts are unsure if she was Spain's deadliest killer. It is. The public suspected that someone was kidnapping babies, and many children disappeared without a trace, causing dread among the population. She was literally the fucking boogeyman. Like, if you left your baby out anywhere, you know how like Europeans will do that? They'll just leave their babies out. They would just fucking disappear, and this chick would go and make them into elixirs for face creams and shit like that. She is horrendous, a horrible lady, and just awful. I mean, she's on her main job is to prostitute children. Her side hustle is murdering children and turning them into goops and goos.
God.
Like, she is just irredeemable. I don't even think she's an animal. She's more of a monster. Like, it's beyond animalistic, because it's like it's only humans could do something so bad. Like, only a human could do such horrendous, horrible things like this lady could do. And like, I cannot describe my disgust for her. Like, to take, just like him, where it's just to take advantage of the smallest, weakest population.
Well, but that's what we know, like of people that do this. It's said, several people have said that it comes from extreme mediocrity. It comes from, like, you are completely unable to do anything else. And part of the driving of it is that, well, I'm good at this. And I can, or like, but you know, it differs between every different, like, most serial killers we know are pussies, and that's why they take advantage.
They're cowards.
Yeah, like any, they don't. You never see, like, you know, a muscle builder or like fucking professional UFC boxer found, like, you know, stabbed or raped or fucking whatever. They could be. You could put a fucking knife through any. You could slit Conor McGregor's throat if you wanted to, but try it.
Yeah,
like,
try
no,
it.
it's a lot easier to. So,
it's not going to work out well.
There were two other things I wanted to say. Number one, did she kill herself under suspicious circumstances?
No, she got fucking murdered.
She got murdered. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
her cause of death was murder. She was murdered in her jail cell because she's a fucking horrible person. So somebody who probably lost their daughter was probably like, "You motherfucker."
Hey, frontier justice, man.
Fucking, you got to do what you got to do, dude. Yellowstone, dude. Don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah, the other one was, you reminded me of a quote. It was in a shitty movie, but I swear to God they got it from a good writer. It was, humans are the only species that worship a god, and also the only species that act like they don't have one.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that. What shitty movie was it from?
Johnny Depp's attempt at the Rum Diary.
Yeah. That's how little I remember that fucking movie. I watched that movie. I don't remember that quote from that fucking movie.
Yeah.
I like Where the Buffalo Rum more than that fucking piece of shit.
Well, like, you know, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
But fucking... The book is better. The novel is much better.
Of course. But we're not talking about Hunter S. Thompson. We're talking about horrible people. And that's my pick for my top spot as Enriqueta Martí, the Vampire of Barcelona.
So now I guess for first pick for Georgia, we have to debate over Andre Chikatilo versus Marquita. Yeah, as you said. I wish we could get their names right. We're just white and in a basement.
We're dumb white people, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
dumb white people. Sorry.
Just under-researched and shitty, so don't worry about it too much. Or don't take it personally.
Yeah. So we got Andre versus Marty. I mean, of course I'm going to pick the one that I picked.
And of course I'm going to pick the one that I picked. Well, the only reason I think that Andre to me only takes the cake because she made a business out of it.
I know, right? That's going to be my exact argument. It was she was like taking her horrible side job and then using that to fuel her horrible side projects. Like, she was literally just terrible. So if this was a list of terrible people, she's number one, like, easily. But this is a list of serial killers, and we don't have a confirmed number. We got 64 on him.
Yeah.
So that's where I will like go in like the Andrea's favor. Like, I believe him when he says that number. Like, I fucking believe him. This lady was like, I just did it for fucking fun, and that's almost more scary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's got the 13 confirmed, and they had to, like, pull out all kinds of evidence. Like, they had to piece that evidence together, like, throughout multiple houses and stuff. So, like, just to get her on the 13 was a pain in the ass. And then she wasn't keeping count. She was just doing it casually. And that's so much scarier. That's so much scarier to me. This guy was like thought out. This guy was meticulous. This guy was like planned. This lady was just like, I'm going to go see what kid I can get off the street today.
Yeah, but also then that, this is going to sound really bad, but there is a part of me that says because she made it into a business plan, she had the ulterior motive of I can profit from this.
Yeah.
So there's still this sense in her.
But she was still like wearing the blood on the face and stuff like that and selling that to other people too.
Yeah.
Like
she still made herself into a witch doctor. But
yeah. So
with him, I think the only reason I'm even leaning close to Andre, is because I think that he did it out of just pure evil and pure. I mean, the way that he mutilated
the passion, as I said earlier,
and he did it entirely for himself. She did it to take advantage of everybody else that would actually join in that practice and then benefit from it. She thought that she could sell this
she was
tincture. Her main motivation was personal profit and
and immortality.
His main motivation
was just
exactly
murder, and rape, and all that horrible things. Well, I mean, damn it, I love you. Maybe we'll throw her in later and it's a different spot. But yeah, I gotta say that I probably agree with you. I think Andre is, just because we got that confirmed number, really is like the thing, is why I'm gonna take him, and the fact that like, I don't know, he was just fucking the courtroom won me over for him. Like his actions in the courtroom kind of like got me on his side. So
yeah,
we'll put Andre as number 1. Oh, I feel awful for doing such a thing. All right.
I just did a Tiger Woods. He's on the list too. Somewhere.
Oh yeah, somewhere, dude. I'm sure he's got a number. And let's take a second to shout out to all the murderers and serial killers out there who've never been caught. You guys are truly the real MVPs.
STL, we're talking to you.
Talking to you, buddy. You know about that guy on 170 who was just like firing like random gunshots and stuff like that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking crazy. Crazy shit out there.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead. You won the last one, so I'm going to go ahead and debate my next guy. I'm going to go ahead and throw, I'd say, a slightly bigger name. He's more relevant to now, and I think he got arrested like in the last like 10 years, was the Golden State Killer, Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., the San Francisco cop who just absolutely abused his power. What a fucking horrible person. What just a bad guy. Because, again, he was a cop, and so he could just like knock on your door and be like, hey, we got an investigation. And then he would go in there and then just brutally rape women. Like, and he would rob places randomly. Like, he would just rob these places after he raped them. And then the papers started saying, hey, this guy's a rapist. This guy's a burglar. But, hey, at least he's not a killer. And he's like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Because he starts killing people because he's literally fucking with the papers. Like, and he did this for years without being caught. He only got caught recently because of his dumb fucking nephew got like arrested. And his fingerprints were like slightly close to some fingerprints they had back in the day. So they pulled like files from this guy who was a cop. So they had his fingerprints, and then they found him and they linked him back to all these murders in the 80s, and they arrested him as an old man. And I think they're putting him to death, or they're about to put him to death or something. And if there's anybody who fucking deserved it, it's this guy. I mean,
this guy reminds me of the guy, the don't answer the phone dude. The dude who would call up fast food.
Ghostface Killer?
No. This guy would call up fast food restaurants and pretend to be a cop, and he would make managers sexually assault their employees.
Oh my god!
And that was all he did. He never committed murder or anything. So
well,
I shouldn't be mentioning him in the serial.
Well,
killer.
If he reminded you of him, he reminds you of him because
but this is like the most extreme version of that.
Yeah.
Where and that's like the biggest fear, like the kid that gets a cop uniform and goes joyride. Like we've seen it in shitty movies and whatever, but like
this is the 80s too, so like things aren't like monitored like they are, and like later on like he can pretty much just openly do this, no reprimands. Like, he was an old man when they arrested him. They only arrested him like 10 years ago, and he was like 80, 90 something. He's an old fuck that got to live a whole life just being the worst piece of shit, the like absolute scumbag. And again, I feel he's really relevant because cops abusing their powers pretty relevant right now, this day and age. And
Fair enough.
this guy is just, he's just bad news altogether. And yeah, it was all because of his dumb fuck nephew that he got caught up though.
Well, thank God for the dumb fuck.
Yeah, you know what? Thank God.
Because even if you are fucking 80 years old, who's the other one? The Sam something, the dude that with the photograph.
Oh, I Am Sam and all that stuff, or
no. The guy they think he's the most prolific in America. He's got like 98 confirmed.
No, I have no idea.
He's some just old dude, and he could draw out every single one of his victims, and then they matched it to photographs of all these missing women.
Oh no! Fuck! You should have put him on the list. What the fuck? Can't even say his name.
Yeah, exactly. And he, and he would then tell exactly where those bodies were. Remember, they caught him in 2011, I think, and he could remember shit from 1938 of like, yeah, it was at this highway, this fucking place, da 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 da, like photographic, exact. But like that same thing of like getting them when they're old.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost a shame because now they just get to be an old man in jail.
I think that's what Cheney should do with the rest of his life is just...
Go to jail.
No, well, yes, go to jail, definitely. Delete the rest of his hearts, but fucking... If just take him and have him reenact his fucking interrogation techniques on the old ones.
Is that your next guy? Is Cheney your next guy? I don't think he killed that guy though. Did he? Just the guy got like maimed or something. I think, right? Or that guy died. Cheney. Did he
Cheney? No, Cheney's still alive.
No, the guy he shot in the face with the shotgun.
No, he just got maimed.
Okay,
and then apologized for Cheney shooting him.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Fun little detour. So yeah, that's my that's my guess for the next one. The Golden State Killer, Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. Fuck that guy.
Well, so how did he? So he would just dress up as a cop.
Yeah, he wouldn't dress. He was a cop.
He was
an actual cop. Yeah, he was a fully-fledged badge actual cop. And he would ride around in his police car. He would go to places, and yeah, he would knock. Like he would scope out women, and he would like go to like single women in their house, and he would like knock on them, like, "Hey, there's an investigation. I gotta ask you a few questions." And as soon as they open the door, he'd like rush in there. And then his rapes are way more than his murders because he was raping before he was murdering.
How many did he kill?
13 confirmed, and then 50 confirmed rapes.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, and that's just what confirmed. Like, that's all what they can like prove.
Well, so how did he? If he was an actual cop, how did he get away with the murders? He just didn't like report where he was at the time.
I think there was even a few
off duty.
There was a few that he actually got to be part. Like he got called in to investigate and stuff. He was like one of the cops, like taking photos and like doing it. So he was just
like fucking Dexter.
And this is the 80s, right? So like DNA isn't what it is. They kept all the blood samples and the things and that, but they didn't have the micro filings with the fingers and stuff like that. So they couldn't just find the guy through DNA. They would have to like figure out what this guy was doing. And he was smart. He was going to like poor neighborhoods and apartment buildings and stuff like that. He was going to places that weren't monitored.
Because he knew how the police system worked. And he knew exactly how investigations.
He knew nobody was patrolling this area. He could go off duty, go to these places, and take advantage of these situations.
That's like real life Dexter. That's literally.
Except he's an actual like beat cop. So even worse than Dexter. Because Dexter's like, the weirdo forensic guy. But this guy's like, could just be like, taking your kids across the street in the morning,
Yeah.
Like, and then, at night he's brutally raping a woman and murdering her. Like, that's why I'm putting him there, because like that's just the idea that this person who's, sworn to protect and serve is only serving his own like sick like fantasies. And that's why I put him up there. That's why I put him as one of the worst ones of all time. And
the whole fucking Jekyll and Hyde thing with these people. I mean, Gacy had that too.
Yeah, where he was like a respected member of society. He was loved in the community, but he was
fucking
just a sick fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy had a whole family, had kids, wife, doing all this shit. He'd go and rape a woman and then go home and kiss his wife.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking scumbag.
The double lives with these people and the fucking compartmentalization. I mean, I think... because I've heard a lot about that with certain ones like BTK too. Like they don't fuck with their families. Like you wonder how like somebody imagine living like you marry somebody and have kids with them, and you've been living with them for 30 years, and then one day the cops show up at your door and go, you know that guy, every time he told you that he was out to work or like was just staying late at the office, yeah, he was murdering and raping people. Like,
we're gonna look under your floorboards and we're gonna find some fucked up shit. All right.
Yeah, he's been telling me that smell is fungus for the last like fucking 3 years.
Yeah, well, it is fungus, but it's only a certain kind of fungus. Fucked though. Just all these people are so fucked.
Yeah.
But that's my pick for who's the second one on there? Is that Thomas Jefferson?
I mean, yeah.
It's
Jefferson in his own right. Oh God. All right. Okay, my Thomas Jefferson. I'm not gonna go with, because I want to save.
Yeah, do your thing.
I want to save Pigton for Benjamin Franklin. So let's go with my
Benjamin Franklin isn't on Mount Rushmore, you fucking asshole. He's not even a president. You know about true crime, but you don't know about fucking American history, you son of a bitch.
I can't believe I let myself get caught on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sickening. It's sickening, really. Because I honestly... Oh, it's Abe. Okay, I remember all four now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I'm gonna save Willie Pigton for my Abe Lincoln.
No, spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. But the one I want to go with right now, just as he's not going to touch Golden State. Golden State's going to win.
Yeah, so this is going to be a throwaway almost.
Yeah, pretty much, but the other two were pretty hard going, so I'm okay with this. This is, when I say my favorite, I mean the story. The story of this man is like a Hunter Thompson acid trip from hell. The man himself, absolutely no respect, but it's an example of like how bad shit can get with unchecked mental health. And when I talk about mental health in the context of this, I am not saying that people with schizophrenia are inherently dangerous. I am not saying people with these kinds of mental issues are inherently to be feared. They're absolutely not. But in his case, with the combination of the things that happened to him, the way he was treated and the way he treated himself, it snowballed into this domino effect that created what he was, which was a complete psychotic, like, okay, I'm just going to get into it. And I also wish I could go into more detail about what happened during this story. I can't. I don't have those details. But honestly, if you can look up Joseph Callinger and do your research on him, this is some of the craziest shit I've fucking read. Like, most of your beat writers couldn't even touch this. Like, okay, so Callinger was adopted by an Austrian immigrant in 1939 by two Austrian immigrants. And he's called the Shoemaker, but the Shoemaker has little, if nothing, to do with his actual crimes. He's called the Shoemaker because he was raised entirely for the purpose of being an honest-to-God cobbler, and he was one of the best in Philadelphia.
Hell yeah.
But that was his only purpose in life. His parents would not let him exist outside of
cobbler.
Being,
you're an elf.
Exactly.
You're an elf now. You're a gnome. You're making fucking shoes all day.
You are a robot.
Yeah.
The only solace that he had was going to the movies on Saturday morning. Other than that, no friends, complete loner, dead-eyed kid. They fucking abused, old world Austrian abused the shit out of him. They burned his hands on stovepots. They beat the fuck out of him with spoons. His father owned an actual cat o' nine tails that they would just whip the fuck out of him with. And he was given, your purpose here, the reason that you exist in this home is to make shoes. You go against that, we give you back to the foster care system. Sources debate on who his actual parents were, but yeah,
he's a living servant. He was pretty much adopted to be a servant, a slave.
He's like a fucking Hellraiser Dobby.
Yeah.
And so he gets to be around at 10. I'm just going to start shouting facts at this point.
Yeah.
At about 10 years old, he's raped by his schoolmates.
God damn.
In the place that he would find solace. He would go to this this kind of metal like sanctuary. Like, it was a cargo hold that he would hide in, and orally raped by like 6 other fucking evil 11-year-olds. At 12 years old, the schizophrenia starts to kick in.
Yeah.
And he starts having hallucinations.
Oh, God.
15, he meets Helga, which is his first wife.
Wonder what happens to her.
Well, 16, he learns that the only way... He starts having violent sexual fantasies because his mother, as a kid... So when he was like 8, he pulled a girl's pants down in school. Kids do it.
Yeah.
It happens. I never did it, but I've heard of people doing it. It's just a thing. Kids,
it's pantsing someone, yeah.
Exactly. It's just part of being 8 years old, I guess. But so because of this, they take him to a fucking doctor and then bring him back and give him this whole fucking crazy spiel about how there's a demon in his penis and the doctor took the demon out. From then on, add that to the schizophrenia, he's completely obsessed with his
penis,
dick not working.
demon penis, yeah.
But finds that he's starting to have, at 16, violent sexual fantasies, and the only thing that can like actually turn him on is like holding a knife and jacking off.
Oh, fuck.
And he's still
Again, I'm so glad I got into my shit, dude.
Fucking like completely isolated, negated kid. But him and Helga's very much similar. She was also very abused as a child, maybe not quite to his extent, and I'm not entirely sure about her history. I don't know if she had mental illness or what have you. But so anyway, he goes on, by 18, he goes to work in another cobbler factory. And his father is all for this. His father basically said, go on, get some experience, but for the love of God, if you ever try to open a shop in my neighborhood,
I'll fucking kill you, you little bastard. No competition. I will gut you.
Right. So he moves into a house with Helga, continues working at his own shoe shop, starts to have fantasies about burning his house down. Meanwhile, he's beating the shit out of Helga because that's all he knows.
Yeah.
And that's how he literally thinks education works. So
I gotta teach her how to make shoes, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta teach her how to help me fucking with my sick fantasies. I gotta beat the fuck out of her.
Exactly. So he's having these violent hallucinations. He's beating the shit out of his wife. Eventually, she leaves him. He burns his fucking house down and then moves back in with his parents. So now he's working upstairs in the shoe shop, still making some of the most high quality shoes in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He's still good at what he does.
Exactly. No,
We've learned that but from a lot of these people. Like, they're really good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No. So
pretty meticulous at their jobs.
Yes.
You know?
Well, the obsession.
Yeah.
But he's, so he remarries to this woman, Betty, I believe, and they have 5 children.
Jeez, you haven't even gotten to the killings, dude.
Well, the killings come at the very end, unfortunately. But
sad life. And then
not
you're
unfortunately, but fucking...
Yeah, you're trying to make me empathize with the guy. Still, fuck this guy.
No, it's going to be still fuck this guy because he abused the shit out of all his kids. He abused the shit out of fucking da-da-da-da-da. Beat the shit out of his wife. But
we're on second wife now, too. You beat the shit out of her, too, I'm assuming?
And she took it because she just believed that's... I guess. I
it's different time, dude. Different time.
Exactly.
And I just had to accept that.
We're up to like 1974 now, I think. So, a few cliff notes. He had woke his children up in the middle of the night, who his children at this point have gone completely feral. They're between the ages of 9 and 14. Michael, Jimmy, Joey, and then the 2 daughters.
More research than me.
Yeah. He wakes them all up in the middle of the night and has them dig a 20-foot hole literally in the basement. Like, rip up the floorboards and start digging.
Oh, shit.
Dig this 20-foot hole, and then he kicks everybody out. Meanwhile, he's having God hallucinations and devil hallucinations. Yeah. God tells him that he's going to cure the entire world with orthopedics and that the feet control the brain and that this is how you're going to fucking da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
The devil tells him to burn everything down and kill 3 billion people in order to save himself and become a god himself.
Sounds legit.
Who do you think wins eventually?
The devil.
Mm-hmm. So he would go down into this hole and he would do these experiments. He did this thing with hamsters where he was trying to talk to the hamsters and make them like wear shoes. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Okay.
He wanted to build.
You're doing a really good job making me like these people. Like, these guys making hamster shoes? What?
He was trying to make
That's awesome.
little wedges for their feet, and he was trying to make hamster shoes. But when the hamsters wouldn't talk back to him, because they're hamsters,
yeah,
he would poke them with a pencil on a running wheel until they pissed themselves and died. To all 6 of them.
Oh no, I hate him again.
Exactly. Good. He would. So these experiments were driven by a practice that he had in that hole, where he would come over with these hallucinations. He would then piss, shit, and cum in the hole. He said the bigger the shit, the better the idea.
Oh.
Yeah, he did this for 3 years.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he's working in a shoe shop that
Yeah.
he has completely boarded up, non-ventilated whatsoever, and he's working in varnish and old chemical and un-FDA
going more and more
regulated,
crazy. Yeah, hot
so add meth
chemicals,
brand
yeah.
to abused schizophrenia, and you have just this fucking there are details of these hallucinations, and there's a lot more that much better people than me can get into, but it's fucking so wild. So eventually he starts taking his kids out to do crimes. It starts as tagging, like their high schools.
Yeah.
But
we're going to go spray paint. We're going to do some bullshit. Yeah, we're going to rebel rouse.
Yeah. But eventually it evolves into breaking into people's houses. He would have his 12-year-old son, Michael, come up to the door and knock on the door and try to sell the person something. And see if there was somebody else in the home other than whoever was just there. He would then follow and say, did this kid try to sell you something? Ba-da-da-da-da, and then bust his way in. This happened 5 times. The first 3 times were duds. He would go in, tie up the woman. Usually it was a woman. Have this vivid fucking hallucination. Get an erection. And then it would die. And he'd go, okay, we're done. And then he'd walk out.
Just edging himself.
Which, think of how fucking terrifying
Kidnapping
that is.
people. Yeah, you get kidnapped. The guy just gets a hard on. And he's like, all right, goodbye.
Yeah. Like, you're pretty sure you're about to die. And then he just leaves.
It's creepy. If this was a list of the creepiest guys, he's up there.
Fuck yeah.
Murdering fucking hamsters, fucking pulling your dick out, fucking while you tie people up. Yeah, he's weird.
Yeah, he also, he castrated and killed a little boy. And then also castrated and killed his son. But that's a whole nother part of the story. I want to get to the 2 home invasions in which he...
All right, let's get to it.
So the last 2 home invasions. The first one ties everybody up, and the hallucinations start again. It's the perfect waiter. It's the death clock. It's the devil talking to him, and it's God talking to him, and it's this whole fucking thing. He ends up stabbing the shit out of this woman.
Yeah.
Leaves, somewhat gets away with it. The last one, he goes in with his son, gives his son a pistol. The 12-year-old kid is now holding everybody up in the room. He takes this woman down to the basement, takes a dude down to the basement, and one of his hallucinations, which is called Charlie, it was a floating mouthless head that would scream at him, told him he had to cut off a dick for God.
Naturally, that's what God wants.
To kill 3 billion people.
Yes, of course. God needs at least this guy's dick.
Yes, but he doesn't want to do it, so he tells the girl, "You either bite off this dude's dick, or I'm gonna kill you." And she goes, "I'd rather die." He goes, "Okay," and stabs the living hell out of her.
Yeah.
He had tied up somebody with a shirt, and that's how the police found him, because it was one of his shirts.
Yeah.
From one of his.
I mean, at this point, he's high on shit. He's fucked up. He's schizophrenic. He ain't gonna remember the T-shirt. All right, that was just something to tie somebody up with.
literally has his name on the fucking back of it. And so, you know, they roll
It's a
out
jersey.
the whole... Yeah.
It's custom jersey.
Yeah, pretty much. I
Philly
mean,
Flyers,
might as
bro.
well be. Yeah. So there's so much more. Like, he had gotten into all these legal issues, obviously, with complaints of abuse. He had gotten into, like, da-da-da-da-da. But the cops fucking hated him and were pretty sure that he was the one who had murdered those kids. So when they were like, oh, we have definitive evidence that Callinger killed somebody, roll out the fucking military parade. They do the whole fucking shebang. They slap him in the wrist, they beat the fuck out of him, and then they bring him in. And then
Philly cops probably beat the fuck out of him, dude. And that's for good measure.
Yeah. And they, of course. And so then, you know, they charge him with obviously charged with murder. He went with the insanity defense, which he was completely fucking out of his mind. But
Philly
didn't
judge,
buy
no,
it.
fuck that.
Yeah.
Put him in general pop, let him get beat to death.
Well, they institutionalized him and put him in isolation for the rest of his life.
Whatever.
There's only one interview with the guy, and it's just as fucking insane as you would think. He talks about how peaceful he is and how much he loves everybody, and then in the same breath tells the interviewer, Geraldo, that he's going to fucking murder him.
Oh, God.
And would if he could.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So,
holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, we spent a lot of time on him, but
I don't
think he's as good as Golden State. Like, he's creepy, and that was very interesting. I'm very engaged with it, but at the end of the day, this guy is just a fucking crazy fucking psychopath. Like, I mean, they all are, but this guy is just like batshit crazy. Like, really, all he needed was to be put in a goddamn cell forever, and they really should have figured that out a lot sooner.
Yeah, if he had been given maybe even the slightest instance of help or any kind of attention early enough in, maybe... Oh, I don't think he would have ever been okay.
Yeah.
But I think that he
could have been locked up sooner.
Could have been preventable.
Yeah, he could have been locked up a lot sooner, I feel.
Locked up, or maybe just even put in some kind of
It's the 70s. It's still horrible, like medical treatment for those kinds of people. So he deserved to be in like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest shit.
Yeah.
He deserved to be with like Nurse Ratched, like honestly, like. And I'm hoping that's where he ended up. Like, honestly, of all that, like, I really do hope he ended up getting abused by his fucking caretakers. Because that's the only justice I feel that could happen for.
Well, I love the idea of that being Ratchet's backstory. That she had to deal with a Callinger, and then after that, she's like, "Fuck all these people."
Yeah, and so that's why she's. It's not the show that they made about it. No, it's this. She had to deal with this fucking asshole.
Nobody knows what she went through. Well, actually, they did make a series about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They made a show, but that show's bullshit. This is obviously the real story.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm gonna argue Golden State over fucking. I don't even remember the fucking guy's name. The cobbler. I call him the cobbler.
The shoemaker.
Oh, the shoemaker. See, that's a dumber name too. I mean, come on now, the shoemaker or the Golden State Killer. Like, right. Which one's scarier? All right, which one are you?
Yeah.
Which one are you fucking telling your kids about to watch out for? Which one are you?
I'm sure somebody at the National Enquirer has already had this conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure. So,
right.
I don't know. Are you gonna argue with me?
I already knew that was a throwaway. I just wanted to talk
yeah.
about him, and I talked about him. I did not do him justice. Actually, go and look into like the details.
I think you did him pretty fucking justice. I think you did pretty well. So, I won that one. So if you wanted to start the next one, you're more than welcome to. But then again, you've been talking for.
I was about to say
quite some fucking time.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all love here, man. This might end up being 2 episodes even, but it's all good because my next pick, he's a big guy. He's one of my bigger ones. He's from the 18s. He was alive from May 16th, also my birthday, 1861 to May 7th, 1896. Better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes or Herman Webster Mudgett. This guy, the fucking house of fucking horrors, the literal fucking crazy psychopath that just executed people, but not only did he murder, he was also part of insurance fraud, forgeries, swindling, 3 to 4 bigamous illegal marriages, and worst of all, horse theft.
Well, back in those days, your horse was your car.
You doomed a man to death if you took his horse.
Right.
Like, you fucking doomed a man to death. He is gone. But my fucking God, does the list go on and on and on. He had a castle. The man had a castle that he used to murder people with secret doors, trappings. He's fucking Dracula. He's Count fucking Dracula in real life. He literally would have, like, beds that would, like, flip up. And you would go into the fucking wall and down a chute. And then you'd get fucking gagged and murdered, like, brutally. And he would torture people. And
All while he's watching through a fucking thing outside the door.
dude, he's so fucking crazy. And it all happened not too far away in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was all just right there, like, in the 1860s, where, like, we were talking about the 80s and the 70s, where you pretty much do anything. You could literally fucking do anything. You could fake your name like he did.
Yeah,
you just be like, I'm this other guy.
people out of the World's Fair in Chicago.
Yeah.
Back when they were doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably fucking watched electricity get made and then go murder somebody else that same fucking day. Like, that's...
He saw the elephant die and then went, I want to try it.
Yeah, he was like, oh, hey, elephant tamer, I know you're grieving. Come over to my house. I got this beautiful hotel. I got a perfect room for you to stay in, buddy. Like, just the fact that, again, I don't know, this is my second business murderer, but, like, to make a whole business out of your murder is just impressive to me, because this is a functioning hotel, but also the murder house. You know what I mean?
How did you get who installed these contraptions without any questions? Who Sweeney Todded this?
I think he was just really smart guy. I think he was a really good carpenter. Like, if I'm imagining, otherwise, like...
You know, back then men knew how to do more shit.
Yeah, you know, like, a man's man, if you gotta say that. You know what I mean? But he moved to Chicago in 1886, which is when he began using the pseudonym H.H. Holmes. Soon after his arrival, he came across a drugstore, the northwest corner of whatever street in Inglewood. The drugstore's owner, Elizabeth Holton, gave Holmes a job. He proved to be a hardworking employee, eventually buying the store. So he's a hard worker. He is committed. Yeah, what else did he do? Holmes did not kill Dr. E.S. Holton. Holmes purchased an empty lot across the street where construction began in 1887 for a 2-story mixed-use building with apartments on the second floor and retail spaces, including new drugstore on the first. When Holmes declined to pay the architects or the steel company, Atina Iron and Steel, they took him to court in 1888. Oh, so he was even worse. He was a scumbag. Like, he wasn't paying his fucking contract. He didn't even pay for the murder house. He had to go to they had to go to court to get their fucking money back.
I mean, if insurance fraud is already in there,
I guess, yeah.
He's not paying for shit.
Yeah.
Would you pay for your murder house?
I mean, if you're gonna have any bit of integrity, you should at least pay for your fucking bullshit. All right, like,
yeah, he was doing this for a point.
You know, like, fuck. But he built the hotel to lure tourists visiting the exposition in order to kill them and sell their skeletons to nearby medical schools. I didn't know that part about him. That's fun. Although he did have a history of selling stolen cadavers to medical schools, Holmes had acquired these wares through grave robbing rather than murder. Likewise, there is no evidence that Holmes ever murdered exposition goers on the premises. The yellow press labeled the building as Holmes' murder castle, claiming that structure contained a secret torture chamber, trapdoor, gas chambers, and a basement crematorium. None of these sensationalizations claim true. Oh, what? Oh, I'm already selling myself out of this guy. Fuck, I should have did my research. There you go. If you can learn anything from these lessons, the fucking media is a bunch of bullshit. But even the story is nice. The story is nice. He's a piece of shit. He's awful. But it burned down, so we can't really know exactly what happened. And I think that's what kind of makes it like the more illustrious. And we don't know how many he killed. We think it's somewhere between like 30 and like 300. Well, and then there's like 10 confirmed.
That's what's so much fun about the old, the real old ones, is that you have no fucking clue. So how many of them do we just don't know about, period?
Yeah.
Like, how, like...
We already shouted them out earlier. Just those unsolved, those guys who got away with it. There was one guy in the 70s, actually. He would call them. He would call the cops, be like, I just murdered somebody. Yeah. I just fucking did it. Like, this is where it is, and you're never going to catch me. He did that like 8 times. And they never caught the guy.
Fucking Zodiac. They never caught him. Like, they never... Yeah.
Those are the real MVPs. Those Black Dahlias. Those guys who just one and done, I'm outski broski. Like, I'm gonna do my shit and then I'm gonna bounce. Like, do my time and leave the stage.
Literally the same time as H.H. Holmes. And she's not even on my list, but just I guess shout out Belle Gunness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Burned the house down, killed everybody in it, and then boop, gone.
Disappeared off the face of the earth. That easy. Well, I put H.H. Holmes, but I'm also kind of like half-assed because a lot of it was glamorized. A lot of it was sensationalized, so I'm kind of backtracking on him a little bit, but I still think the story's fun. I still think the story's neat.
All right, that actually leads into a perfect caveat to my next pick. Robert J. Picton, also known as Willie Picton. He was the pig farmer of Vancouver. He operated a farm in Port Coquitlam that he inherited from his family. So he had grown up on this farm. He was born in 1949, and all he knew was pigs. It was a slaughterhouse, rendering plant, and farm.
All I'm seeing is Bricktop from that fucking movie.
Basically, but dirtier.
Snatch, yeah.
The man was, Bricktop was
he's cool. Yeah, I get it.
Significantly more intelligent than this man who couldn't even spell his own fucking name.
So Bricktop's cousin.
Bricktop's cousin that they kept in the attic for nobody to see. Like fucking Pet Cemetery, man.
Hell yeah.
Dude, Willie Picton was literally just a pig in human clothing.
Dirty boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally had a fear of bathing. Just, grew up in slop, existed in slop. Nasty, nasty motherfucker. And so we don't exactly know when he started killing. It's thought to be believed in the early 1990s, but he would patrol Vancouver's Lower East Side and pick up prostitutes.
Yeah.
See, there was a halfway house that he was frequent of. That because at that point in time, I want to say 1980s, mid 1980s. Vancouver's Lower East Side was a basic heroin den.
Yeah,
it's
a shithole. It's like most of the country. Oh, most of our country.
Most of our country, yes, but
heroin hit the 80s hard, like a motherfucker. People don't really talk about it. They talk about the cocaine, but heroin hit it hard.
Yeah. This was this whole strip was it just popped homeless.
Yeah, it still kind of is. I think I'm pretty sure. There's bad parts of Vancouver. There's people like handing out needles and stuff like that, like safe needles and shit like that. And I think it is the Lower East Side. I think it just stayed like the bad area of Vancouver. Yeah, or it could be gentrified for all I fucking know. But at the time, it's a hellhole.
Right, and so he would prey upon it. His basic MO was to pick up a prostitute, bring him back to the farm. He had his own trailer that he lived in, which he preferred to live in. Once he owned the farm, so his parents,
his family's
after
farm.
They died, gave him the farm. They gave the siblings the money, and said, "You guys go live your own lives," but they want somebody to keep up the farm. So they put in.
So they got the dirty boy,
exactly. That Willie must stay here. And run it until he turns 45, and then he can have his share of the inheritance and go live and do whatever he wants at 45, where he's already pretty locked in to do
farmer life.
So they kind of fucked him, and I
mean, they're dead too. He could always just sell the fucking farm and say fuck my siblings,
Exactly. So,
but that's not what Willie does.
No. That's not what Willie does. Willie goes out. Willie picks up a prostitute, chains him to the bed, and either stabs, shoots, or strangles them to death.
Yeah, because these are multiple different times that he does this. He goes out and does this frequently, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And so missing women keep popping up and popping up and popping up. But we're talking about there's a concept in true crime called the less dead.
Yeah.
And these are the people, these are your prostitutes, these are your drug addicts, these are your junkies that go missing and they don't have any kind of social connection.
Yeah. So, there's nobody to identify the body. John Doe's.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jane Doe's. Yeah.
People that go missing and nobody even notices. And it's
Dredges of society.
dredges of society, but still people.
Yeah.
Still
I know.
human beings.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly sad to look at somebody who could, like, you're still a fucking human being, and they still deserve the exact same respect as anybody else.
Of course.
You know, blah, 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 blah. So, but he knew that somehow inherently with pig sense, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, pig sense is real.
Apparently. And so he would just, you know, keep racking up these numbers. But he had a few girls or a few women that would take care of him, a few women that saw him as this child thing and decided. But for some reason, he was able to convince them to bring other women to.
So these aren't prostitutes anymore. He's just convincing women.
Some of them are prostitutes. Some of them are drug addicts. Some of them are. I think he had 3. I cannot remember their names, but they were like his caretaker, somewhat. But he was somehow able, through feeding them drugs or feeding them whatever, convince them to convince other women to come over to the farm.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And those women would disappear.
Yeah.
And in certain instances, the girls who were doing this didn't know that was happening. One of them kind of did. And again, not researched enough to remember their fucking names.
Yeah.
But
Bitch
honestly,
number 1, though.
Yeah. And so he just was racking up numbers. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Police Department is noticing that all these women are going missing, but since they're all
it'd be a hard
the
case.
less dead,
they
don't want to pursue it. At least the old guard of the Vancouver Police Department at that point.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Exactly.
I'd rather just get my speeding tickets, get my quota, and get out of here. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and investigate this 20-year-long murder spree.
Exactly, of people that are incredibly hard to
even identify.
Exactly, they don't want to do it. But they have this one young cop, this one guy, his name's Kim Rosso, and he comes from, like, high university, he's got new tech, and he's noticing all these patterns of, like, well, women are disappearing in this area with this found. Women are disappearing in this area. He geographically maps the entire thing, and he realizes that there's one person doing this. This isn't just random ODs in the woods. There's somebody out there doing this, but he can't get through the quote-unquote political system of
the police department.
Exactly. To get to anybody to pay attention to this. And the more dust he's kicking up and the more that he's rocking the boat, the more the old guys are pushing back, to the point that he gets essentially ousted from the Vancouver Police Department. He goes on an international tour to give, like, literal fucking lectures and shit and help out other countries and other police departments because he's so fucking hated by these guys. To the point that there is a literal fucking tribunal investigation into
him, Roscoe. Rosso.
No, not even Rosso. Into the Vancouver Police Department for their treatment of Rosso.
Oh, jeez.
And this is all happening, and Willie's still killing people.
Yeah, the pig man's still out there.
The pig man is still out there doing the pig shit.
Oh, shit.
Exactly. So, eventually, finally, after this tribunal and after this whole fucking uptick and the newspapers get involved and the police department has to answer for its bullshit, they finally start going after him, and they still can't fucking put the pieces together because they don't have Rosso anymore and they don't have his technology and not his technology, but just his methods and his techniques. And eventually, several things happen. There's a club on the farm called the Pig Pen. Nickelback actually played there at one point.
Shout out to him.
It was a party of...
Never made it as a wise man. Never made it as a pig man neither.
How do you think that song was written?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So fucking Hell's Angels hang out there. A lot of drug dealers hang out there. The
Look
farm
at this
is
photograph.
Constantly... Yeah. Tell me about it. Farm is constantly under investigation, and finally they get gun charges. They say, you have illegal guns and illegal drugs going through this farm. We're going to raid the entire thing. At the same time that this happens, Willie Pigton is brought to the hospital after being stabbed by a girl that he stabbed a prostitute who actually was able to
Fight back, yeah.
Exactly.
Retaliate.
And she tells this whole story of seeing horrific shit in the farmhouse.
He went to the murder shack, yeah. She made it out of the pig pen alive.
Right. So the gun investigation comes in at around literally the same 3 weeks.
Perfect storm.
Willie gets picked for this. So they do this whole sweep of the farm, and they keep Willie in for suspected murder charges. What they find on the farm, when they start busting open the doors and getting the actual warrants for it: heads, women slaughtered and decapitated like pigs. Because the man knew how to de-dress animals.
Yeah, he was a pig farmer. So, yeah, they're all butchered like pigs were. Oh, my God.
They find limbs,
Bro, this guy
body
wins.
parts in refrigerators. They find evidence of cannibalism. They find da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Willie, meanwhile, is sitting in prison with an undercover agent who is posing as a prisoner. His job to get as much information out of Willie as possible. Out of the pig man, yeah. And Willie, being Willie...
Yeah, he's going to talk about it. He's going to brag about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tells the entire story to the fucking investigator.
I mean, yeah, you can't, like, be too mad at him because he's a dumb fuck from, like, the country. So, like, you know, he's just talking. He's just shooting the shit with another prisoner. Like, oh, yeah, shit.
Right. But he's admitting to up to 63
That's
horrific murders.
Crazy.
Then they go to the rendering plant. The rendering plant that processes the meat that they distribute to the town of Coquitlam.
No.
They find evidence of human flesh in the processed meat that is packaged and distributed to the town.
You're getting some Bubba burgers with, like, Bubba inside the burgers. Like,
yes.
Yeah. That's crazy. You're getting hot dogs made of, like, Ron. Yeah.
Or Sarah.
Yeah.
Or Kelly.
Yeah.
Sugar or whoever.
Yeah, Mercedes.
It takes the Vancouver Police Department 2 years after this to announce a public health warning that there might be human meat. 2
years, so people were just eating human meat for 2 years. Okay, this guy just wins.
More than 2 years, probably up to when he started.
Yeah, well, I figured
he was processing them.
I don't know. I don't think you start with the processor though. Like, I feel like he worked his way up to that. You know, I don't think it started there, but it definitely got to there pretty quickly for sure.
Well, but that's all he knew how to do.
Yeah, true.
He
true that.
treated these women as animals, and then did as such.
And just the way you just said it, yeah, that's why he's getting on the list more than H.H. Holmes, because a lot of these people are just animals. This guy was treating them like animals, and that's just fucked. Like, treating them like a butchered pig. Yeah, this guy's the fucking worst. The pig man, for sure.
Right.
Like, wins this round. Like, I don't even think there's really much of a debate. Holy fuck, this guy seems sick and twisted, but at the same time, he ran a business, too. Like, these guys that run the business, like, he had the pig pen was successful. Nickelback played it.
Yeah.
You know, so...
No, it was a fucking mess.
That's
Real
wild.
quick, I want to plug for anybody that hears this. The book On the Farm by Steve Cameron is the definitive story of this. It is every possible detail you could ask for. It is an incredibly well-written book. And if you care about anything I've said in the last 10, fucking go get that, pick it up and read it, because it's an important story when you look into... You know,
for sure. I think I might pick that bitch up because fuck, that seems interesting. The guy seems wild, seems crazy. Yeah, and that will go into my next guy. Is I know we said we didn't want to do the main guys. I know we said we weren't gonna do the famous ones, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to put on the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, because I just think if I think of a definitive serial killer, he is the first one to come to mind. He is batshit crazy. He's a devil worshiper. He would sharpen his teeth, sharpen his nails. He would murder people with a fucking hammer. He would, countless rapes, countless just beatings, like just taking advantage of the most weak people, like single women who are in their cars or old people in their cars. Like, he would just take the weakest members of society, not prostitutes, but like just weak people who couldn't fight back, and he just go nuts like on him. And then he got so obsessed with himself. He got so into like this idea that I am the Night Stalker. Like he loved the name. He loved that they were calling him that. He was just obsessed over the idea that, oh, people notice me. People are scared of me. And he played into that even afterwards. Like he went and got married in like prison like afterwards.
Yeah, he had two. There was some woman that married him. She's fucking, I can't remember her name, but she married him and then she married another fucking serial killer after.
Yeah, she's got a type for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that like, I don't know. And just like when I think of serial killer, he's the first guy to come to mind. So that's like my easy pick almost, because it's like, it's Ramirez, man. Like there isn't like a sicker person I could like just think of like off the top of my head, because he's just so like twisted. And then you like watch the interviews and he starts like smiling as they like say the shit that he did. And it's just like, you just feel like a disgust just looking at his ugly face. And that is like something I can't even put into words. Like the feelings I get.
Swastika tattoo on his hand.
Yeah,
and the
like
fucking...
just being an asshole, just being a complete fucking asshole, like all the way through. And that's just like, there's no redeeming quality. Like at least fucking Alexei or whatever, like Andre is fucking jerking off like in the courtroom, you know, he's making a show of it. Richard Ramirez is smiling, playing into it, thinking he's cool. That's the worst part.
It's like
the pig man never thought he was cool.
To 1,000%. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
like all these people, like, I don't know, like when you have that ego about you, I feel like it's just worse. That's why I put the Golden State on there. That's why I put Richard Ramirez on there, because they have that fucking ego about them. They just decide like, this is what I'm going to do. This is the horrible thing I've decided. And then even after I'm caught, I'm going to like play into it. Ramirez more than the other ones, of course, because yeah, he just, what else would he do? You know, besides just be an asshole and put swastikas on himself and pentagrams and shit. Like
cunts.
Yeah, he's a cunt. Like that's the best way I could describe Richard Ramirez. He's like the cuntiest killer.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
Actually, I would put Israel Keys up as the cuntiest.
Yeah, that guy was pretty much a fucking just a cunt. But I don't know, just that smug look on his fucking face, like that just lives in my head like rent free. So like,
well, and he never broke it. Like he never. That's the other thing about Ramirez, is that Ramirez never gave up on the persona.
Yeah, he was that. He was just that twisted and psychotic. Like, we may be sitting here calling him a jerk off, but yeah, he was just insane.
Yeah, no,
completely insane.
Shoot on sight, like fucking yeah. Well, and you know how he got caught, right?
Well, how was that? Somebody survived, right? The lady survived like the beating.
She
got away.
It was this exact. It was the same. He had tried to, you know, exactly. She got away, and everybody in LA at that point, or his section. I think it might have been Rosa Parks. I'm not entirely sure at all. I might be completely wrong, but he fucking. So he goes on this like literal. There's such fervor for trying to find this guy that everybody in like civilians in this neighborhood are like ready to fucking
Well, people have been disappearing for like the last 10 or 2 years or whatever time he was doing his like shit for.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna be tied to that. Like his grandma's neighbors, like, you know, cousins.
Yeah, so he ends up running out of the house or whatever, literally down the street with neighbors chasing him. He had a mob chasing after him on top of the police coming.
So he really is a monster. He's fucking Frankenstein, getting chased off with fucking torches and pitchforks and shit. Like, ready to beat him with a golf club and a fucking frying pan. Like, fuck him up, dude. Fuck that guy. Yeah, that's awesome though. The idea of him like running fucking away from the mob, like scared out of his fucking wits. Like, oh man, what I would have given to like just get the mob, get him, and beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, which they would have.
Let him get his actual justice, you know, instead of living the rest of his life in jail. Because I don't even think he was like put to death. I think he was on death row, but he like died old.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that one, because again, I just went with Richard Ramirez. I'm like, I know enough. I don't need to do no research. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he just died like of like a heart attack or something. Like he didn't even get to like be put to death, even though he should have. Like that was a pretty easy cut and dry. Like, and that's really what pisses me off about most of these guys. A lot of them just died or were like killed by like a fucking prisoner, but they really should have just been put to death. Like I don't know why we have to wait 20 years to put these sons of bitches who would just kill somebody in a matter of a second. Like, yeah, I really don't understand that. And I don't know. But when I think of serial killers, I think of Richard Ramirez, and that's why he is my Teddy Roosevelt. Because when I think of presidents, I think of Teddy Roosevelt.
Fair enough. On your point of those being killed to death or put to death, if I'm going to compare Richard Ramirez to Andre Chikatilo, Andre Chikatilo was taken into a back room and shot in the back of the head. But that's
the Russian way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprised it wasn't a firing squad.
No, that was for the guy he blamed.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking who are we putting Ramirez versus my last?
Yeah, well, we already Pigman wiped Holmes out the water. We didn't even have an argument.
Yeah.
So we have your last one, yes.
My last, actually, it's funny that you, well, not funny, but it's
coincidental
that you mentioned Ramirez, because my last is who I find the scariest, Adolfo Constanzo.
Who's that?
He was the closest thing to a wizard I've ever read about.
You know about the Ku Klux Klan, right? They have wizards too.
Yeah, but this guy actually got away with shit.
Oh shit! Well, they do too.
So yeah, smallest amount of backstory I can pause.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about like the idea of
Sorry,
like
it's late. That took me a second.
Ku Klux Klan fucking like actual wizard. Like, you know, I'm just sorry. I was having my own thing. Completely sorry about that.
I'm glad we're sitting in a literal Dungeons and Dragons basement.
Yeah. This is the whitest shit you could talk about in the whitest room possible for sure. So everybody listening out there, give a like, a subscribe. We're having a lot of fun down here. We're a little batty. We're just talking about murderers.
Remember
in a dark
that
room.
part where we said we don't condone these people?
That was a while ago.
It was I guess we changed their minds. Stop getting us in trouble, dude. I'm gonna get fired for this. Anyway, all right. So Adolfo Constanzo, practicer of Palo Mayombe. Palo Mayombe is basically a dark Santeria. It's a take on. You need this backstory to know why he did what he did. Okay. His mother was a practitioner, and so anybody that tells you they know the actual tenets of Palo Mayombe from the actual practitioners of it, they're lying. There's no way to research it. The only way that you can actually ever learn it is by meeting a padrino.
Yeah, they're priests. They're holy man.
Exactly. His mother was one of these, and so he basically grew up in an apartment in Miami that was smattered in blood and animal remains and sacrifices and
these animal sacrifices.
Animal sacrifices, along with several other things. Again,
what else are you sacrificing? Are they sacrificing people, or what's going on here? Because I want to get.
That all depends. So the way
I'm saying the mom right now, she's just sacrificing animals. Like
she's
while he's a
just
kid.
sacrificing animals,
okay.
But different animals mean different things. So what you're trying
your protection with a wolf, fucking ward off evil spirits with a coyote, whatever. Insert this here, yeah.
Exactly. So what they're trying to build is this. It's called an nganga, and it's basically a cauldron in which you put these sacrifices or whatever. Yes. But it's not necessary. It's not all just animal parts. Sometimes it's rum, cigars, different
herbs and stuff like that.
You're trying to summon different spirits to help you do different things, gain fortune,
Ideally, like a hag or a witch, like witch shit. Yeah, you're making a concoction.
Exactly, very witch doctory. So his mother would do all this stuff around him. So he grew up around a lot of animal slaughter. Eventually, when he comes of age, she moves to San Juan and tries to get him to turn into a padrino. And so she sends him off to this apprenticeship. Yeah. And he learns from this guy all this really dark way of using this
magic. Let's call it magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Exactly. Magic, religion, fucking belief. So he what you're not supposed to, apparently the worse the sacrifice, the more powerful the nganga. Yeah. And he truly 100% believes.
Well, I mean, you're born into it, you're raised by it, and then you're sent off with the holy man to learn about it.
Precisely. So he comes to this after his time spent in an apprenticeship with this man. He comes to this conclusion that the most, you know, the way to make my Nganga the most powerful, human sacrifice.
Of course.
His
the next step.
Right. So he goes from San Juan to Mexico City, and he starts a basic gang.
Yeah.
His ideal at this point is to be the high priest advisor to the cartel, basically.
Yeah.
And so he has his lower, but they're not even really, because Padrinos have talked about Adolfo, and apparently he was practicing the entire thing fucking wrong. Like, he just had his own fucking...
Yeah, he had his own beliefs. This fucking guy was probably batshit crazy. His mom was too. Like a subsect that's just about crazy fucking people. Probably some level of schizophrenia.
Of course. And none of them condone his practices. But so as he's giving spiritual advice to these different cartels, and their whole stories about him pitting certain cartels against each other, certain drug deals, and da-da-da-da-da, he's picking up people off the street and sacrificing them into the Nganga. The way he does this is he believes that the more painful and the more heinous...
The death. The more powerful. Yeah. Oh, God.
Exactly.
So he starts torturing and then starts...
Slow, calculated, meticulous...
Oh, God.
Painful death. The more screams, the more fucking...
Power was in the juju.
Yeah. It's every cringe, gore, horrible thing that you can think of. He pulls off ritualistically, surrounded by fires, fucking da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's got basically a roving gang of other serial killers helping him do this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's drug dealing. Meanwhile, he's setting up cartel meetings. Meanwhile, he's da-da-da-da.
You gotta get in the business.
The creepiest part about this, though, is that most of his predictions are coming true.
Yeah?
Like when he says, police will not catch us for doing blank, we're going to take this risk, they don't.
Oh, shit.
When he says this deal is going to go this way if I do this, he does it, and it does.
Oh, shit.
And it happens to a consistent, like when you read the details of this, it happens to such a consistent level that you start going,
maybe it works.
Too many coincidences. Yeah. Like, it's too many fucking luck bits. But then again, we don't all know all the details of what happened. So eventually, after I think 20 sacrifices, he's got 2 Ngangas going. He has his mini one for his house, and then he has moved his entire gang onto some ranch outside of Mexico City, which has now become his... We bring people in from Mexico City. I perform my fucking ritual.
We get the powers. We get to thrive in the gang's activity.
Yes.
Got you.
He makes his first and only mistake. He kills a cartel. He sacrifices a cartel member.
You can't do that. As much as we like your power, as much as we like your shit, we liked Carlos a lot more.
Indeed. But it wasn't the cartel. He kills a cartel member, and the cartel member gives him nothing. Literally sits there silent through the entire torture until he gets pissed and just chops his head off and goes, this doesn't work. He's infuriated. He's screaming at everybody, and he goes, bring me an American.
What an OG, though. Like, the guy who just, like, didn't give him what he wanted. Like, was like, I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to give you the sixth satisfaction, you faggot. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. He just tanks the entire thing and dies. But it's that shows you how fucking hard those people are. Yeah. And then the first thing he says is, bring me an American. Which they never do because they know the heat that it's going to come out. So they kidnap a fucking college student on his spring break. Yeah. Bring him back. And they get what they want.
Yeah, he screams. Mm-hmm. Americans know him to scream.
But when that kid goes missing, the Texas politicians put a shitload of pressure onto the Mexican police to find this guy. They catch 3 of...
his officers, let's call them.
They catch 3 of his officers. Meanwhile, Adolfo has completely fled the ranch. The Mexican police come to the ranch and find his Nganga room. It's just completely smattered in blood.
Intestines, everything, just gross.
With a big black skull-filled cauldron in the middle of it. They're so scared of this thing that they actually bring in a religious
holy man,
practitioner.
yeah, like an actual holy man to like get rid of all the evil spirit, ward off all the spirits, exorcise the room.
Exactly, and they burn the entire thing down.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you really should do to that thing. Like, there's no reason to keep it around. Like, I mean, that's the Mexican way, I guess. Like, let's just fucking turn it to ash.
Just jump to fucking
I don't
burn
know.
it.
Americans are weird, bro. Like, we would want to investigate. We would want to analyze. We would want to take that place apart. We would want to, like, figure out why they were doing it. The Mexicans are like,
No, fucking
exercise this shit, man, and burn it down. Fuck this shit, dude.
Indeed. So, meanwhile, Adolfo is held up in this apartment in some village, like 40, 50 miles outside of Mexico City. He's hiding. He's got his closest with him, and he's watching on TV the
manhunt,
Nganga burning, and starts just screaming, da 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 da. So he's in there for about 2 weeks, and one day he sees 2 cops walking by the street. They weren't even part of the manhunt or the investigation.
But he saw them and just like snapped in his mind.
Freaks out. Him and his 2 best start shooting, like firing machine guns out the windows, and he dies in a Mexican standoff after all the cops coagulate on this apartment. He looks at his best man and goes, "I'm going into this closet. Fucking kill me." And the dude just fucking rail guns the shit out of the closet, and Adolfo is found dead in a slump.
Well, I mean, he went out in the Japanese samurai kind of way, fall on your sword, have your buddy like chop your head off type deal, but with the M16s and AK-47s.
Yeah, so I think his number was about 23 sacrifices, and then he also just the story of that is such a classic like 80s horror movie story.
I'm surprised like there isn't a movie about this fucking guy. Like,
just a lot of people don't know about him.
Yeah, he is like a sleeper. And that's why I'm a little unfortunate that he's going against Ramirez, because I feel like Ramirez, just the name alone is like stomping. But man, that was a really interesting. That guy is fucking sick. You got a book to plug for that one too, or is there like? Did you just watch like a documentary or something about this guy?
There's a documentary called Narco-Santanica, which when the manhunt started and the media got a hold of his quote unquote cult and what he was doing, they dubbed him Narco-Santanica, which Black Devil, or drug devil or what have you. But he had nothing to do with Satan. That's what's so stupid about
the documentary. It's this other religion that Christians just deem as satanic worship.
Right, or it's just easy to call it Satan.
We've been doing that for 2,000 years, dude. What do you want? Like, I mean, like if it's not Christianity, it's fucking not that. But I mean, going against Ramirez, that's a tough call though, man. I don't know if he's got it, just because, man, like I said, that sick smile, those fucking chopped up teeth, those fucking fingers. I mean, don't get me wrong, the blood cult having a gang like follow you, but like,
I think you'd be good using the exact same argument with Ramirez that I used with Chikatilo. He did it for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
this guy
was trying to.
He truly believed that he was like this holy man. He truly believed in this religion. He truly committed to like, this is the right thing to do. Like, everyone else is wrong. Like, yeah. And that is a certain scariness, but that's also like, I don't know, that's just kind of sick and twisted, more than like a serial killer who's just doing it for, I'm gonna do it because I want to beat somebody with a fucking hammer. Right.
But like, my only advocation for Adolfo is his methods were intended to cause as much pain as humanly possible.
But this isn't a list of torturers, all right? This is a list of serial killers. This is a list of serial killers. And I'm just gonna go with the name recognition alone. Ramirez all day long.
All right. Fucking Ramirez wins it.
All right. And thank you, Nick. This has been a fantastic episode. It feels like it's coming to an end now.
Indeed.
The longest episode so far. So congratulations, buddy.
Absolutely.
This was a fun talk, man. We'll have to have you on again sometime. But is there anything you want to say? Any last words you want to give to the people?
Thanks for having me, and check out these people. Check out everybody that we've talked about. We barely even touched the details of these
really
stories, but every single one of them are both incredibly important to just our understanding of crime in general, and there's so much more to all of this. So check it out if any of this sounded interesting.
All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much. Like and subscribe. You are a true champion. I love you. Good night.
Say like and subscribe, you fucking...
Fuck yeah, right after this murderer conversation, you better believe it. I'm a fucking shill.